Hi, and welcome to Art with Mrs. Torres. Today we are going to be inspired with these little forest animals by my backyard and those beautiful trees. So, our backyard gets a lot of little animals that come and visit, and we have never had a hedgehog. However, we have had owls and we've seen some foxes. So, it'd be a lot of fun to do this project. You're going to need a pencil, an eraser, a Sharpie marker, and one piece of paper for drawing. You can use paper that comes out of your printer or a piece of construction paper, whatever you have on hand. So pause your video, gather up those items, and meet me back here for our lesson. It's going to be fun. All right, I am so excited to do up this lesson with you. I hope you are ready. The things you're going to need today are a piece of paper. You're going to need a pencil, an eraser, a Sharpie marker, and something to color with. I'm going to be using crayons, but you could also use markers or anything you have in your house. Go ahead and gather those items up and pause the video and then meet me back here when you are ready. Welcome back. We are ready to start our drawing. You've got all your tools set up. Make sure that your crayons are either in the box or in a little cup like I'm keeping mine. They're a little easier for us to find later if you do that. You can also have them sticking out of the box the way I did mine here. These are my jumbo crayons. I might be using those for doing some coloring later just to make it a little faster. Let's start with our pencil. And so we're going to be looking at our cute little fox picture. And the first thing I want you to notice are some shapes. Shapes are very important when we're drawing something. The first shape that you'll see is the circle in the head of our fox. Now at the very bottom, he has a little bit of a pointed nose, but basically the shape is a circle. His ears are going to be triangles. His body is going to be another circle. And his tail is the same shape as these, as the leaves. So this is going to be really fun to draw. We're going to be breaking him up into shapes. So we're going to start by making a dot in the middle of our paper the way we always do. That dot's going to help us when we're designing our fox. Now the first thing we're going to draw today is his nose. So we're going to draw a nice round circle around the dot for his nose. Now we're going to start to create his head around his nose. So I'm going to start by going right here on this side, and I'm going to start to form a big round circle that goes up and around and back. Now, once I've made a big circle for his nose, we're going to change his face a little bit by adding a rainbow shape on this side that comes from the nose. So we're going to go right here on the side of his nose and go up and around. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. So I'm going to go right here on the side of his nose, and I'm going to go up and around. And then I'm going to go right up here to the top of his head. And I'm going to leave a space between his head, but we're going to start to make him some ears. So I'm going to leave a little space right here. I'm going to start by making a shape of a triangle for his ear. So I'm going to go up. Now, when I make my triangle, you'll notice I'm going to make it very wide at the bottom. I'm not making a skinny triangle. I'm making it very wide. So I'm going up, bringing it to a point, and back down. And once I've created his ears, then we're going to go right up to the top of his cheek right here, and we're going to create a big round circle for his body. So I want to make sure when I do his body that I don't go all the way to the bottom of the paper because I want to save some room for his feet. When I'm making his body, I'm going to be making a big round circle with my pencil, nice and light. I'm going to bring it around on this side. Then I'm going to make 2 feet in the front right here. Now his feet are going to look like a rainbow. So I'm going to draw 2 lines close together right here. 1, 2, close together. And then I'm going to draw a big rainbow for his foot. I'm going to go on this side and draw a big rainbow for his other foot. Now, once I've created his feet, I'm going to finish by making the other half of his leg. This is one part of his leg. I'm going to draw another line coming up for this leg and another line coming up for this leg. Now you can make it kind of curved like this, or you can make his leg straight. Now, for the bottom of his feet, all I have to do is draw a line across the bottom of the paper like this. And then I can bring his feet all the way down to the bottom. And then I'm going to give him some toes. So I'm going to draw one line here and another line on the other side. Now, when I make my lines, I can make them straight like this, or I can make them slightly curved like this. You'll have to decide which way you want to make his feet. Did you notice one of my feet is bigger than the other foot? No, I can leave it that way, and that's fine. Or I can make this foot a little bit smaller to match the first foot. I think I'm going to fix it like that. I'm going to take my eraser and erase the lines I don't want to keep. Later, everything will get covered up with our crayon. Now, inside of his feet, we don't need to keep that line there anymore from his body, so I can erase the bottom of his tummy out of his foot, because his foot is now in front of his stomach. Now, I gave you a choice. You could make the toes like this with straight lines, or you could make them curved. Which way do you like? I think I'm going to go with the curved foot. So I'm going to erase these. And I'm going to make a curve this direction, kind of like a backward C. Skip a big space in the middle and make the other line going the opposite direction. All right, now he has 2 feet in the front. He's got a round curve for his body. Now I'm going to work on his back legs here. So the back leg is just going to be a curve that comes around and goes back and touches the side of his body, and then another foot right here on the back. I'm going to go right here to the side of his body, and I'm just going to make a curved line that comes around, and it comes back right about where his foot is. And then I'm just going to go right up here to his side of his leg and draw another rainbow shape right here. Now that's the side of his foot, so I'm only going to draw part of his feet. I'm only going to draw one toe. And you'll notice I made it curved because I made my other toes curved. Now I'm going to go over on this side. I'm going to copy what I did on this side and make a back leg on this one. It's going to go around and come back and touch. And his foot is going to go a little behind his leg here. It's going to go around and back down. And then when I make the toe on this side, I'm going to make it the other direction going this way, like a backward C. Now, if you've ever seen a picture of a fox, they have a big, beautiful white chest. And I'm going to make my chest come down. It almost looks like the bottom of a heart, doesn't it? That's another shape we already know how to draw. So far we've drawn circles and triangles. We've drawn rainbows. And now we're going to draw almost a whole heart. We're just going to not draw the very top of it. So I'm going to come right up here, right where his cheek and his shoulder meet right here. And I'm going to make a curvy line that comes around and comes down and stops in between those legs. And I'm going to do the same thing up here and bring it around on the other side. So I'm going to go from this side around, curvy line that comes down and stops in the middle. All right, we are almost done with our cute little fox, except right now he can't see. So he's missing his eyes, and he needs a fluffy tail. So in this picture, I put the tail on this side because I have a little bit more room on my paper on this side. So I want you to look at your paper and see if you have more room on one side or the other. If you have more room on this side, you could make the tail on this side. And if you have more room on this side, you could make the tail on this side. Now to make his tail, all we're going to be drawing is a curved line like this, and then another bigger curve that comes all the way down and connects to his body. So if you want to make the tail on this side, you draw a curved line up here and bring it back to his body this way. So I'm trying to look. I think mine's pretty even. I just can decide which side I want to make it on. I'm going to make it right here. I'm going to curve a line up to a point, and then I'm going to swoop it around and bring it all the way back and then under, so it's hidden behind his leg. Now a fox has a really soft, fluffy tail. I'm going to be making a little bit of lines like this because the end of his tail is white. Now you can make your fox with his or her eyes open, or you can make them closed the way I made my fox. If you want to make them open, go ahead and draw 2 circles. If you want to make your fox's eyes closed, you can just draw a smile like this. And then if you would like to add eyelashes, you can do that later. Now, the only other thing we need to do is a fox's face actually comes more to a point right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give my fox a little bit rounder cheeks here. And then I'm going to bring it a little bit closer in. Do you notice how I made his cheek a little wider right here? So it's not quite a circle. So I'm just going to bring it out just a tiny bit more, not very much more. And then I'm going to cut a little bit of that curve shape off right there. You see how I kind of trimmed it just a tiny bit. Then I'm going to erase this line that I don't need anymore. So I'm going to use my magic rub, erase this line. And I'm going to do it on this side too. I'm also going to erase this line where it used to be a circle, and I changed it just a tiny bit. And when we're finished, we're going to go ahead and continue this line to the edge of our new part of our face where we added it a little bit longer. Now, right here in the center of the ear, if you have room, can you draw an upside down V like that? That way we have an inside part of the ear that we can color a color later when we're all done drawing. All right, I'm brushing off all these crumbs from when I was erasing. And speaking of erasing, I want you to get your magic rub eraser if you have it. And if you don't have a magic rub, you can use whatever eraser you have. And I want you to erase any pencil lines that you might have made a mistake on and changed your mind. I have a few of those on my picture. So I'm going to hold my hand like this, like a duck saying quack, and I'm going to erase my pencil lines. And then I'm going to get out my marker, and I'm using a Sharpie marker, and I'm going to trace over my lines. So I'm going to trace over my ears. I like to start with the ears first. And then I'm going to trace the top of his head. Now, I want to show you something before I trace. Did you see what fell on top of my fox? What is that? So I thought it would be kind of fun to add some fall leaves falling down from the sky. Now I'm going to show you how easy it is to make a leaf. Now you can use your pencil or you can do it straight with your marker. I'm going to use my marker. So to make a leaf that fell right on his head, I'm going to draw a curvy line like this. And then I'm going to make a little stem. And then a curvy line going the other direction. And I'm going to make sure it comes to a point at the end. Kind of like a football. And then I'm just going to draw one line that goes all the way down the middle. And then if you'd like to add more leaves later, we can do that. And if you don't want to put a leaf on top of your fox's head, what else could you put there? Maybe you could put a flower. Maybe you could put a bow. And then I'm just going to start tracing around the side of my fox's cheeks. And then my curvy line of fur that goes around his eyes. I'm going to trace around his cute little nose, his eyes. Now, right when we get to his eyes, this is when you get to decide whether you want to have a girl fox or a boy fox. If you would like to make a girl fox, you could add some eyelashes. If you want your fox to be a boy fox, boys have eyelashes also, but usually when we're drawing a cartoon, we'll usually put eyelashes more on a girl. Next, we're going to trace just the triangle shape. We're not going to trace this part of his head. If you already traced it, that's okay. Just tracing that inside triangle. Matter of fact, I'm going to get my magical eraser. I'm going to erase those pencil lines so we don't get confused. There we go. As you continue tracing all over your pencil lines, when we're finished, we're going to talk about what color we're going to make our fox. There's the chest that looks like the bottom of a heart. Remember, when you're using our Sharpie marker, I call him Mr. Chubby because he has a really chubby tip. You see how chubby his tip is. So when I'm using Mr. Chubby, I try not to push down really hard. If I push too hard, he squeaks. You can hear him making a squeaking sound. It's kind of like he's saying, please don't push so hard on my head. Now, once all of your lines are traced over, then we're going to color with our markers or your crayons, whatever you would like to use. Now, if you decided that you were going to put a leaf in the picture, we want to add some more leaves. So to make our leaves, remember we're going to make one curvy line going like this. And we want to pull that little line down. And then we're going to wrap another line going the other direction and connect it. And then just draw a line down the middle. You can always add a little stem if you want to. I'm going to make a heart of a leaf poking out from the top of the paper. I think I'm going to add one here too. I have a nice big space here. And I'm going to make all my stems at the top because the leaf is falling down from the sky. Also at the bottom here, I'm going to draw a line across the bottom where my fox is standing on the ground. And then to make the leaves look like they are moving, I'm going to make two little lines side by side around each one of the leaves. I like to do two on each side, 1, 2, and 1, 2. And what this does is it kind of makes the leaf look like it's moving. Now the final part of the fox, if you would like to, you can put a little bit of a ziggity-zaggity line on his front legs, because on a fox, the bottom half of his legs are colored black and the top half is more of an orange color. When you're all finished, then we're going to get out our crayons and start coloring. You can also at this time add some eyelashes if you would like to add some eyelashes. You can also color the nose in black with your marker while you have it, or you could wait and use your crayons. It's up to you. Sometimes when I color, I like to leave a little bit of a shiny light at the top of the nose. I don't color the whole circle black. I leave just a little space white, so it kind of looks like his nose is shiny. And before we start to color, I still have some erasing to do. So I'm going to move my marker off the page. I'm going to get out my magic rubber eraser. I'm going to hold my hand like this, and I'm going to go in and erase my pencil line. When I'm all finished erasing my pencil lines, it's time to do our coloring. Now, I used crayons for my picture, but if you don't have crayons and you would like to use markers, you could use markers to color your picture. It would also look beautiful if you had some paint and you wanted to paint your picture. You could also paint it. Now for today, I'm going to be using my really large jumbo crayons because I can color a little bit faster with those, just because I don't want to take too much time when I'm coloring right now while I'm teaching you. But if you are at home and you have these kinds of crayons, these are great and they will work wonderful. So first color I'm going to color on my picture is some yellow. So if you have a yellow in your crayon box, grab some yellow or a yellow marker. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit of yellow down first. So I'm just going to scribble some yellow on his tail. And I'm going to leave the tip of his tail white and color the bottom of his tail. I'm also going to put yellow on his back legs. Now, if I'm going too fast, you know that you can pause the video anytime and then catch up and then keep coloring when you're ready. I'm also color a little yellow on his side of his body right here. I'm going to leave his chest white. And I'm going to color a little bit of yellow on the top part of his leg underneath his white chest. Now you'll see I'm not coloring it perfect. I'm just scribbling it because I'm going to be putting orange over this. The next place I'm going to put yellow is up here on his nose and the top of his head and around his ears. When I'm finished putting yellow down, the next color I'm going to look for in my crayon box is orange. Now, if you don't have orange, it would look really pretty with brown also. I'm going to look for my orange crayon. Again, if you have these kind of crayons, you would use those. I just have a jumbo orange crayon, and I can use that a little faster to color. And now all I'm going to do is color orange over every place that I colored yellow. So as you can see, as I'm coloring orange over the yellow, it makes a really pretty color, doesn't it? And you're going to go every place you put yellow, you're going to go ahead and color this orange. As you're coloring, try to do your best to color in one direction, not changing your directions back and forth all over the place. Just try to go one direction as you're coloring your picture. And that really helps at the very end for your picture to look very nice. When I'm all done coloring his body, I'm not going to color the bottom of his cheeks or his face here or the tip of his tail. And this is, I'm going to color a different color later, but I'm going to come up here above his nose and color all of this orange now. So right now I'm going to be coloring up and down. I'm going to try to do that as far as I can until I get to the top of his head. And then if I have to change directions up here for the ears, that's okay. I'm still kind of coloring, following the same direction, going up and down. And then right here in this little space here, I'm going to have to color sideways. And that's okay. When you're coloring, I like to keep extra pieces of paper underneath so that it's got a little bit of a cushion when I'm coloring. If I'm coloring and I don't have paper underneath, sometimes the edge of my desk leaves little marks on my paper. Does that happen to you when you're coloring? All right, when you're all finished coloring your fox orange, then you can add brown on top of this if you would like to and add another color, or you could add a different color orange. Maybe if you have a darker orange, you can color in with a darker orange and add even more color. See how I'm adding a different shade of orange? Now I'm going in with my skin crayon. And that's an idea if you'd like to do that. When you're all finished with all the orange that you want to use, then the next color we're going to look for is black. We're going to be coloring black on his feet. So I'm going to look for a black crayon now. And I've got a couple places I need to color. First, his front legs here. You could also use your marker, your Sharpie marker, and color this black. But I kind of want to do it soft so it matches the rest of his fur. And I'm coloring his foot black to match. When you're all finished coloring his front feet, then you want to color his back feet black also. When we're all finished coloring our fox, then we're going to color the inside of his ears if you would like to. Now you could leave the inside of his ears white, like white fur, or you could add some pink inside of his ears. I'm going to leave that up to you, what you would like to do. You can leave it white, or you can put a little bit of pink in there. So whatever one you want to do is going to look great. And then the last part is to color our leaves. So when leaves are falling from the trees, if you have leaves falling from the trees where you live, you'll notice they're different colors. They're not all exactly the same. Sometimes you might find brown leaves. Sometimes you might find green leaves falling. Some might have some orange in them or some red. So I want you to decide the color you want your leaves to be. And if you would like to, you could even mix colors. You could mix red and yellow together. You could mix orange and yellow or orange and red together. You could put some brown on some of the leaves. So when you're all finished with your drawing and you finish coloring it, the last part is to color the bottom of your picture. So I made the bottom of my picture green. I used 2 different shades of green like this for my coloring, but you could make the bottom of your picture all the colors of the leaves. You could make it reds and oranges and yellows, and that would be so beautiful too. Well, I really hope you had fun today learning how to draw a cute little fox. I had fun teaching you, and I hope that you'll send me a picture of your artwork. If you do, please send me an email with your picture to rtorres@lcusd.net. I'll see you for our next lesson. Have a great day.